Just to clarify, these views that we speak of on our podcast are 100% our own and not those associated to anyone from Luton Town Football Club. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to When the Town, and here's what's coming up today. Luton head to Birmingham and ease them relegation fears after Dan Potts fires us. 3 points back to Luton. What a performance it was. What a great win. And now we can start looking forward instead of back. Today we discuss everything about that Birmingham win in more detail. Tom Lockyer, probably one of the signings of the season. And let's not forget that this guy cost us absolutely nothing. Free from Charlton. And he's just making a name for himself at Luton Town. What a centre-half. Today, we play a focus on him. We'll answer your Instagram questions and your Twitter fleets as always. And tonight, audio only, no video. So if you're on YouTube right now and you've got this on YouTube, sorry about the lack of video. But audio as always. Dave's with me and Darren's in for Bataro today. Bataro couldn't join us. How are we both?
Very well.
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Good to see you back, Darren. How's weekend life? Luton winning away at Birmingham.
It's all good, isn't it? It's all good again.
It's nice because last week on the podcast we were talking about should we be looking over our shoulders? Should we be worried about the bottom three? And I feel like we went to Birmingham the weekend and just put in that performance that we needed. Just a big performance, it felt like.
Very true, very true. I was one of those that said we have to be careful. If we don't win, we could find ourselves in the wrong end of the table. But you know what? They did put in a performance. We got the goal. We defended fantastically, and we got 3 points, which was fantastic.
Well, yeah, absolutely rock solid. Yeah.
Before we get into the game, then let's look at some 3-word reviews from Birmingham 0, Luton Town 1. Parker says crucial 3 points. Tom says now kick on. Andrew says Collins the workhorse. Clive says boss the game. JMO says mid-table obscurity. Ronnie says what are substitutions? Dave said relegation worries silenced. Phil says Birmingham going down. Craig says long throw works. Birmingham, I'd say over the 2 games we've played this season have been probably the worst team I think I've seen. I don't know what you guys would think. Maybe Wickham weren't great, were they? But Birmingham have been poor over them 2 games against us.
They were appalling Saturday. Absolutely appalling Saturday. And if you've only got to read what their own fans are saying about them, they know how bad they were. They didn't. There was a point at which they didn't create nothing, did they? Not at all. Nah. But don't take it away from our performance. Don't take away from our performance how structured we were on the day. That's how I would say about that. But I would say Birmingham got a big chance of going down.
Yeah, they're absolutely dreadful. I think Preston at home, Preston looked pretty poor, but apart from that, yeah, Birmingham are dreadful. Didn't they only just survived last season as well? So even their manager, wasn't it? After the game, his interview it's rare that you hear a manager talk about his own team like that as well. So it's not good there, is it?
No, he said that Luton wanted it more than they did.
Well, which you could probably agree with on performance wise. They were just slow to everything. We were on second balls, and that's the kind of performance you need, I think, when you're going to a team like Birmingham and they're scrapping for their lives. And I think we've gone there and put in the performance we needed to get the win. Dave said in the 3-word reviews, relegation worries silenced. And it's like I said a minute ago, last week we were talking about the potential or if we didn't pick up a win in this game, could we be looking over our shoulders? But we've just silenced that now, and we can maybe start looking forward and a big game against Cardiff tonight as you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, and the result at Cardiff is just as important as the one on Saturday. If we play well and we get something out of it, fantastic. They're on a bit of a run themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in really good form. Really, really good form. And we've got with them and Stoke at the weekend, it says just how big a win that was against Birmingham. Just to get those points on the board.
It was a very scrappy start to the game, wasn't it? Wasn't I just feel like there was no flow. The referee kept blowing for free kicks. There was silly tackles going in. Ref wasn't playing advantage. And it was just one of them games that was getting broken up every second, wasn't it? And we had the first big chance when Collins kind of made this chance for himself, didn't he? Down the right-hand side, he beats the defender the ball, tried to lob the keeper, and it goes into the side netting. Should he have done better with that chance, do you reckon? Because we did tweet out, should he have done better? And a few people have said, look, he's done all he can. There's no way he can do better than that. I kind of thought he could have done a little bit better, but I think that's me being really harsh and critical of Colo.
I think he might have been half waiting possibly for the ref to blow. Was it a foul? I'm not sure. But it's, I don't know. Yeah, he could at least maybe got it on target. But it shows he leads from the front, and he earned that opportunity, bullied his way, and it was showing the rest of the team that that's what we're there to do today.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I think I was screaming at him. He should have. I thought he should have scored personally. But that's what I think about that every time he gets the ball. I want him to score. I was disappointed. I think he did all he could. To be fair, I think he did all he could.
I think the disappointment thing for me was he did all the hard work of making that chance for himself, and I feel like the lifting it over the keeper with the side foot was probably the easiest bit. But then again, I'm not a professional footballer or a striker, so I don't know if that's the case or not. But, in the end, it didn't matter. And it's just nice to see us create a chance like that.
It would have been nice to go in, though, wouldn't it? And then give you that push forward sort of relatively early in the game, really, I think.
He's missed easier ones, though, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Let's not talk about that one.
Well, even earlier in the season against Birmingham, that like open goal from a few yards out and the keeper's pulled off a worldy save.
Yeah.
So it's just not quite going for Colo at the moment, is it?
No, but he still works really hard in the team. And he puts in such a shift, and he's not scoring.
I think I texted you, didn't I, Dave? At some stage in that first half, saying Colo is on top of it, isn't he? He was all over it.
He was everywhere. You did actually text me, and general opinion is I think everybody sees the work he does. They just want him to score more. That's all.
Mm.
Last week I went on a Birmingham podcast to review the game. And they basically, when they were chatting to me about their club and what they expected, he kept saying, "I feel like Saturday's the type of opponent we could get a win against." And I didn't want to say like teams like Luton, but it did kind of have that feel to it, didn't it? That I think a lot of Birmingham fans just thought Luton at home, that's the team we're going to get the 3 points against.
Let every team in our division underestimate us. That'll be fine, and we'll just push on from there. The problem is, and we had this with the likes of Sunderland in the other league when we was in that one, and the bigger teams from the Premier League that come down, they look at us, they look at where we've been in the last 5-10 seasons, and they look at we've been in the non-league, we've been only League 2, League 1, and they think we're going to be a pushover, and long may that happen. Long may that happen. They should look up their history more, and then they realise that we're not just a team like Luton. We are Luton Town, and we're pretty decent.
And you have to earn every win in this division, and you have to earn every goal. And I feel like we did earn our first goal of the weekend. And it came from Harry Cornick's long throw. There's been a lot of talk on social media today about Rory Delap making a return because of the Iranian player. Have you seen the long throw this Iranian player has done from like the halfway line into the box? That was all the talk today on social media. But it was our own long throw from Harry Cornick. And it's nice to see this lead to a goal. Collins had a little shot, which was saved by Etheridge, but fell to Potts. Empty net. Wasn't missing this header from 2 yards like he did against Huddersfield, was it, last week?
Come on.
But it was nice to go into the lead, wasn't it, away at Birmingham? And from there, you were hoping we'd kick on. But a nice goal to score from a long throw as well.
Yeah, it's been coming, I think, from that throw. It came out of the blue from nowhere, didn't it? However many weeks ago. And, it was pinpoint. And like you say, Potsy there just to put it in, making up for last week, definitely.
Following the ball in as well, he anticipated maybe the goalkeeper makes a save or Colo's shot doesn't go in. He's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Birmingham were all over the place, weren't they? Let's be fair. But he was the right place, right time, and it was a right good time to score for us.
Dan Potts said in his post-match that I don't think Harry Cornick knew he had a long throw like that. It wasn't until recently where he thought it wasn't that long. And it's taken us, 2.5 years to discover this. But it's like Nathan Jones has said today, it's like we're not going to be too proud to use it. Like we will use this throw-in if it's going to lead to goals, like it did against Birmingham at the weekend. Why not?
It's almost like it's a corner, isn't it?
Kind of,
it's
yeah.
literally a corner, and maybe even tactically better than a corner from the position you throw it in.
I think you could be more accurate with a throw, can't you?
Not me, but genuinely, if he gets a good run, he gets a good swing on that. That's in the box. That's right in the danger area. And so when a defender kicks it out, they have to think twice, don't they? Because they think if they know it's going to happen, they're going to try and maybe not kick it close to, just hit the touch line from where you are, basically.
It's not bad though, is it? Because now we get a throw-in near the goal, and you can kind of get a little excited that there could be a potential flick on,
true,
or a half chance that could lead to a goal. And I feel like we just carry on using it. Why not?
Yeah, and it gets Cornick in the game, doesn't it? It gets him contributing as well. So he's going to feel good off of that.
It's just another string to your bow, isn't it? It's another string to your bow. You've got that. You've got the speed down the flanks with him as well. So, good on him for finally realising his throw wasn't small.
Yeah, about time, Harry Cornick.
They obviously don't do that in training. They obviously don't practice throwings.
No, I think they are now with knowing and scoring from that. They must be trying to figure out loads of little set pieces we can do with throw-ins and.
Surely that's a crazy situation.
But
they must have done throw-ins somewhere. He must have thrown the ball at some stage of that distance, and Nathan Jones gone, why haven't you told me you could do this?
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. But it was a good goal, and it was let's not take away, it was a well-deserved goal for us on Saturday. Well-deserved.
And the second half it kind of followed the same pattern. I don't know if I expected Birmingham to come out stronger. They didn't really, did they? And it was just another scrappy half of football with free kicks and the referee just not allowing play to flow, really. And if anything, we had better chances in the second half as well, didn't we? Not many.
The referee was very whistle happy.
Yeah.
Very, very whistle happy. And not letting advantages go when he could have let an advantage go on. I think we were in control of that game. I don't think there was a point at which, and I think we said this at the weekend in group chats and face to face, that didn't feel like Birmingham were going to score. Didn't feel like they were getting anywhere near a goal.
No, I think we had our game plan, and that probably was when we go in the lead. I know as fans, we want to, after we get that first one, we want to go and get a second and the third and play that expansive football. But clearly, when they get one up, they do just want to, I wouldn't say sit it out, but they play more cautiously. And we do it very well. We do it really, really well. But as fans, it puts you on the edge of your seat, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you're always expecting that your opposition will get at least one decent chance in a match, and we've been kicked in the balls a few times with that, and we've been watching this game and you're thinking, they get one chance, they've scored, and with one chance when they don't deserve it. But I don't think I felt that bad on Saturday. There was a couple of moments where I think
I did when they brought on their big striker Jukovic, and he's scored in the last 3 games against us. So you kind of thought, here we go, we're going to bring him on. We haven't shut the game out. Producer Jacobs put in our notes today because we had that chance, didn't we, from another long throw from Harry Cornick. Sonny Bradley tried that overhead kick. So producer Jacobs, how mental would you have gone if it went in? I think that might have been intended for Bataro because Bataro loves Sonny Bradley and probably would have gone mental.
Well,
I think we all would have gone mental.
You wouldn't have heard the last of it from Bataro, but if it had gone in, it would have been a fantastic goal. If his fit was a little bit higher, he hit the guy in the face, he gets sent off because that's what happened, So I think he was very unlucky, and it was the only thing he could do. He knew where the goal was and went for it. I would have gone mental, 2-0 up, been well happy, cracked open another beer. Bataro would have rung us, that sort of thing.
And that was, I can't really, producer Jacob's not putting any more notes about the game, and I can't really remember anything else really happening. Like, I can't think of Sluga having to make a save.
He didn't, did
he?
No.
Like a meaningful save?
None.
Nothing at all.
Did they even have a shot on target? Their shot on target was a really dull header towards the goal. That was it.
I think that was their only one in the whole game.
So
they ended with like 4 or 5 strikers on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they knew they had to chase it. They had to get a try and ball. Imagine if that stadium had been full of their own supporters. Imagine the crap they would have got.
They would have been boos. That would have been great to have been there.
Yeah, wouldn't it? They were terrible, and I'm thankful they were terrible because we got the 3 points. Sluga didn't have to make a save, but then you've got to credit our defence for that too.
Last week on the podcast, we asked, should we be making more substitutions? Should we be making substitutions earlier in the game? I feel like this week we didn't need to make any. Producer Jacob did put, should we have made more changes?
Why?
Because we only did Naismith for Clark. I would have maybe liked to have seen Adebayo come on and maybe go 2 up top and push for that second, because I feel like we could have done that, but in the end we didn't need to, and I wasn't overly fussed we didn't make many subs, because it just worked, didn't it, with the players we had on the pitch.
Well, Nathan Jones, he explained the reason for switching Naismith, didn't he? Was you
for the height, wasn't it? Yeah, it was for the height bit, and which is Jordan Clark probably jumps higher than pretty much anybody in that team. So, but I get what you're saying. And maybe a little bit more defensive as well than Clark, isn't he? But yeah, as it went on, you're sort of thinking he ain't going to make any subs here. Colo leads so well from the front. To bring a new guy in and say do that same job would be putting a lot of pressure on him in a game that you're only 1-0 up. I think had we got the second, then we would have seen those players, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
But as it was ticking on, you're thinking, no, we ain't going to make any more subs. And I don't blame him. That team were rock solid, and you couldn't disrupt it.
No, and don't forget, we've got a really quick string of games coming up now. You're going to see a lot more squad rotation, I think, as we go through the next few weeks with the homes, Tuesday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Saturday, whenever it is. So should we have made more changes? No, because clearly we won the game. So his tactics were right. That's how I look at it.
And am I right in thinking, so I've just looked it up now. So we are 7th in the table for having the best defence in the league, or goals against. We've only got 29. There's only 6 teams above us, which I think, you look at last season, I think Luton News, Mike from Luton News tweeted earlier, at this stage last season we've conceded 60 goals. This time around is 29.
Yeah, we just need to score more.
But we're solid, aren't we? And that's the thing. We've got that solid foundation that, we're up there with Derby, Bournemouth, Millwall, Norwich, Watford and Swansea. I don't think you can really complain with our defence this year. Imagine if we did just have a more attacking flow. Title contenders.
Hey, now he's looking too high. I would suggest.
I know. If you compared last week's podcast to this week's, this is the thing, isn't it? This is what it's like supporting Luton.
That's why you do it every week.
You dream, don't you? You dream.
You have to dream, and I don't think we're doing too bad.
Do you think Nathan Jones got it tactically right at the weekend? Producer Jacob's asked on the podcast running order today.
Yes. Yeah, he did, and I think he had his tactics. If we go 1 up, he even said that at half time they're going to bring this guy and Luchovic, and and when that happens we're going to do this and this. I think he got it absolutely spot on, and it may not be the most enjoyable to watch, but we absolutely can't complain.
If we were there and it was 1-0, you'd have been happy. You'd have been ecstatic. It'd have been such fun to be there. Absolutely got it right, and it's great that he gets it right. He just fits with us right now, doesn't he? He just fits in, and he seems to motivate the players well. I'm quite pleased. It would be nice to see some of the newbies on at some point, but he got it tactically right. And I think even the substitution, I think he was right.
And we got another big game tonight on Sky Sports. Cardiff City at home. I feel like in the 3 games we've played against Cardiff since we've been back in the Championship have all been, apart from the one earlier in the season. But we owe them a result, don't we? Because we got beat twice last year. Once that Vassell 96th minute winner, and then that Tomlin one at home when we dominated the game. The only thing is Cardiff are on a good run of form. Obviously, I think Mick McCarthy's in charge now, isn't he?
Hey, that shouldn't stop us, because when some teams are playing better, we play better.
Yeah.
So let's not worry about their form. Let's think about us and how we're structured in our form. There's no reason why we can't get a result.
Well, they are 5 unbeaten. They have conceded in 4 of them last 5 games. So if we can get a goal and push on like
why can't we?
What we want to do, then that would be good. It is one of them games that you probably would expect to pick up points in, isn't it?
Well, I was sorry, I was going to jump in and just say,
go for it.
With the defence, and we're saying how good our defence are doing. Obviously Kiefer Moore is absolutely on fire as well, isn't he? So that battle is going to be really interesting.
I prefer not to worry too much until it starts. and then I'll start worrying.
That's a good match preview, isn't it?
It could be whoever wins that battle, it could win the game.
Could you see it as another little scrappy game, or do you reckon this one will be a bit more free-flowing? Will both teams look to try and actually play? Because I feel we had to drop to Birmingham's level the other day to get the result. Could it be that this home game, back at Kenilworth Road again, under the lights, we can just try and play our style of play?
I think we always try and play our style of play.
Do you really think we did that at Birmingham? The amount of times we were trying to hit it over the top of their defence.
No, I think there was.
And it looked like it was working as well.
I think there was a game plan for Birmingham because they've obviously studied how the team played. I think when Cardiff can play football. I think because of that, we'll get the chance to play as well. We pass well. When we get the speed right, we're good. So why can't we go out there and take the game to them? I think that's what we need to do. Take the game to them. Shut them down quickly. Get on. Just look at the game we watched the other night, how quick Barnsley were moving up all the time. And the same thing we should be doing all the time. Just shut them down. Don't let them have time on the ball. Get the ball. Keep control. You'll get a goal.
And we're still on course for 7 points from 3 games, which we discussed, 2 weeks ago?
Well, that's okay.
Which would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would be nice. Today we wanted to focus on Tom Lockyer, as he just had another solid game, didn't he? He got man of the match. And this player cost us nothing from Charlton. Charlton fans said he was average and overrated anyway, and he wasn't good enough and couldn't tackle, or he dribbled past all the time. But he turned out to be probably one of the best free transfers of the season, I think, in the Championship. He's been class, hasn't he? Yeah,
well, firstly, let me correct you on that, because the fans might have said that, but their manager said, I don't understand why it took so long for him, a Championship club, to come for him. So his manager knew that he was a decent player. And I think he was a standout player on Saturday, easily standout. And he's been consistent now he's got back in the team and starting.
Yeah, when you watch other teams in the previous seasons, he's a player that I do remember. I don't always remember opposition players, but I do remember him when we came up against him. So that sort of sticks in mind. So he must have been half decent even back then. But yeah, him and Bradley together are just growing better and better. We talked about Bradley the other week, didn't we? About how he stepped up to Championship football, with Lockyer's Championship level, without a doubt. And together, they just work so well. But he's just got everything. When they say he couldn't tackle everywhere, he times it brilliantly. He can bring it out from defence. His passing is superb. Yeah, he's almost a complete player for us, isn't he? They
do look good, Bradley and Lockyer together, don't they? And I even think Pearson at right back the other day. I'm normally a slater of Pearson. I thought he did all right. He did boot out of play once,
but he had to. Anyway, the Lockyer thing for me. The Lockyer thing for me is that he does. You know, like when you have a centre half and you just think, oh, that ball's not going past him today. That's how I felt Saturday. He won practically everything.
I've gone down.
But do you think because it took him a while to get in, and again this goes back to Nathan Jones not necessarily putting new players straight in, and he did have to fight his way in, and maybe that's the case. You know, he's got himself in there and he isn't letting it go.
Maybe that's tactical genius by our manager. Make the player hungry enough to get in there and then play well enough to keep his space.
I also think it's about earning trust, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Knowing you can trust your player, because I think Jones came out the other day and said he now 100% trusts Lockyer. So it is all about trust. And I think trust is actually a massive thing in the game, isn't it? It's something you don't really think about, but you hear about it a lot nowadays. Normally I bash producer Jacob, so it wouldn't be a podcast episode without me bashing him, so let's do it now. He said, is this the best free transfer we have ever had? And the thing I'd say is, like, I kind of need some comparisons. I can't think off the top of my head any free transfers we've had in the past, but I'm sure we've had a few good ones.
Statistician Darren, you must know a few.
Oh, come on. You told me you weren't going to ask me any questions where I've got to think about it.
Yeah, that is true. But I blame producer Jacob for that, and that's why I wanted to call him out on it. But, you know, he's trying. Well, everyone, he's trying.
The fact we have to try and think of it and Dave's frantically Googling sort of tells me that it could, well, certainly in our initial memory it is, isn't it? You know, we're possibly going to have to go back some distance. But the trouble is most things are all undisclosed and they never tell you about things nowadays. But Yeah, at the end of the day, that player for free is a sensational bit of business.
It's a bit difficult, isn't it? Because,
he is our highest earner, though. He is on a big wage because we got him for free.
Well, whilst Dave searches for other free transfers we've had in our history, I'll read some comments. This is what you guys said about Tom Lockyer on social media when we asked the questions. Is he one of the best free transfers we've had? And how crucial is he to the team? Chris says, I wasn't too convinced by him in the first few games, but he's been so solid since. He's totally filled the gap left by Cameron Carter-Vickers, and he's a more all-rounded centre-back than Pearson. I think he could improve on his distribution, but him and Bradley look a class pairing. Can't really disagree with any of that, can you? Him and Bradley are really just forming that partnership. And, yeah, buzzing with it, really.
Yeah, and even with Sluga as well, the sort of the three of them together, I think they're all, again, comes back to that trust. We were saying about getting that trust. We had to get the trust in Sluga in the end after his start to last season. But those three, and okay, the fullbacks have been changing, and hopefully, I mean, Pearson did well, but if Bree, we all know when Bree's fit, he'll probably be there. And I see Potsy get some slating, but I like Potsy, and if we can get those fullbacks settled, think how solid we will be then. Yeah.
True.
Maybe even get Bree back in that starting 11, because Potts has looked good since Norwich and Davis went. Potts has really stepped up, and it's nice to see, and he's got his goal the other day, so fair play to him. Let's hope that carries on. Dan says, Lockyer, he's so solid and is improving Bradley as well. He's a perfect replacement for Carter-Vickers, so happy as our player, and hopefully we keep him for a good few years, which is good. It's nice that people say, everyone thought not getting Carter-Vickers could have been a disaster, but Lockyer, you think Carter-Vickers would have cost us $2 million, I think the report was, a reported fee. So to get Lockyer for free as a replacement, class. Gary says, brilliant, classy player with a good touch and vision, and he's strong. He's brought Sonny up a level as well. Loved him since I first saw him playing for Wales. Him with KDH has made us a better team, hence the league position. I can't believe we got him on a free. Well done, Big Mick. Which is, again, we got him on a free. He's a Wales international.
Brilliant recruitment. And more foolish that Charlton didn't have him tied in longer.
And talking of recruitment, do you see we took 2 new guys on today in the recruitment department as well?
They're getting a lot of love on social media. Apparently, people are quite excited about this. I'll have to admit, I don't know much, but from reading comments on Twitter, people are buzzing about this recruitment signing.
Come on, fill me in. I haven't looked at anything today.
We've got a new recruitment guy, and apparently he's really good.
Where's he from?
I don't know.
I've just walked in from work. So I literally saw that we picked up, I think, did we get 2 of them, two new in the recruitment? Whether that's for the under 23s and development squad, but the club are doing the right things, aren't they?
It is exciting, and hopefully we get more transfers like Lockyer. Did you find any frees we had in our?
I don't believe all this. Did we pay for Bradley?
No, we didn't. Bradley was free, weren't he?
Loire. McManaman.
McManaman, maybe not.
Well, it says everything is.
Batara would be sitting there going, Bradley. You think Bradley and Lockyer were free? I'll take that.
Yeah, there's loads. Is he our best signing? Time will tell.
Time will tell. Chris on Lockyer, he says, back in the summer, I was disappointed that we didn't secure the signing of Carter-Vickers, but having seen the way Lockyer has settled in, showing great attitude, and when he didn't start straight away, now being a key part of our team, I'm not disappointed at all. He's a good player, good character, good banter, calling the Man of the Match award, the KDH award the other day as well. Credit to Nathan Jones and co for securing him on a free. It saved us millions and would be no better off with anyone else. Which is a really fair statement, isn't it?
It's a brilliant statement, because I think we was all disappointed that Carter-Vickers didn't stay. But we're not anymore. At the end of the day, we've got a fine replacement. Did he call him Kevin as well in the award? I think he did. I think, he's a brilliant play. Well worth nothing to get to us. Well worth nothing. And long may that sort of recruitment continue.
Let's hope so, and let's hope Lockyer steps up against Cardiff tonight and has a banging game, and 3 points would be good. Should we get some certain Twitter questions today? We have a range of good ones, random as well. Everyone's getting involved.
Good.
Scott says, where do you think it went wrong for Galloway? So in case you haven't heard, Nathan Jones basically said today Galloway will be 100% pursuing his career elsewhere, and he's going to finish his rehab at Luton. He's not in the 25-man squad. What did go wrong for Galloway? Because obviously he had that big injury last season at Brentford, and since then, not had a chance.
It's hard to say, isn't it? I think it just move on. He's not going to be there because now Nathan Jones thinks the squad is better without him.
And how old is he?
He's one of them.
Jones tends to go for sort of younger squads if he can, doesn't he? So Galloway's got to be getting on a bit now, hasn't he?
He's one of them players that always just seems to have never realised his potential, has he? Like, he was meant to be a big player as a youngster. I think he's like 24, 25 now, and he's not really had a successful run of games, which you would have thought he could have got here, but I think that injury just that has ruined his career a little. I don't know if he's not been 100% at it in his rehab or something, but I don't think anyone's going to be too gutted to see him go, but it's just a shame that it ended because of a horrific knee injury.
To be honest, and I'll be totally honest, I forgot we had him. That's the thing for me. You've got to wish him well if his recovery is good and he moves clubs. You got to wish him well, but clearly Nathan Jones thinks they're better players than him there now.
Leo says, "Do you think we can get into the playoffs?"
Why not? You know what? Every time this question comes up, and I say I want to aim for a win every week, you mock me, and every time I say, you know what, there's a chance we might play for the playoffs, I get mocked again. So I'm going to say, live your dreams. If we can get a few more wins, why not?
It's just because last week we were talking about looking over our shoulder, and I just think it's great that the next week we're like, playoffs, come on, we can do it.
No. You have to look over your shoulder because you know what we're like. But do you think we can get into playoffs? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, 3 points separate us and Cardiff in 7th.
And we got a game in hand, right?
And we got a game in hand on them.
Right, there you go.
And we play them.
That's mind-blowing, creating it, really, when you think about if we lost against Birmingham, would have been 3 points off the bottom 3.
Yeah,
and now if we win tomorrow, we're
bang mid-table. We're 9 from bottom, 9 from playoffs. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, there is no reason why we can't aim for that area. If we don't get it, doesn't matter. As long as we don't get, we said this last week, as long as we don't get dragged down into that quagmire, we'll be fine. If we're a championship season next season, that's fine. If we get a flirt with the playoffs, fantastic. But no more trauma. I don't want trauma this season. I've had too much of it.
I said I wasn't going to put you guys on the spot, but let's do it, because why not? Tom says, what's your favourite Luton game you've been to?
Oh, come on. There's so many. I'll let Darren answer.
For me, I'm going to go FA Cup 94. I'm going to go West Ham at home, Scott Oakes hat-trick. I was about 14.
14?
And I 14, and no, 15. And I remember I was stood at the back of the Kenny when we were still terracing. And when that hat-trick went in, and I'd managed to get back on my feet, I was halfway down the Kenny stand.
Yeah, you was probably pushing me down there because I was with my cousin, and I think he was at the front of the stand by the time that goal had gone in. It was crazy. For me personally, I've got a couple. I could say my first ever game, which brings you in, which was Queen's Park Rangers, but Man City away was fantastic.
It's one that looks pretty good.
Man City away was fantastic, and let's not forget the cup. Everybody would say, from my era, they would say the winning a Littlewoods Cup, but for me, Man City away was something else.
There's not enough of my era here to discuss it, but I'd look at Norwich, Scunthorpe, and the main two that stick out for me. But
I'd ask Tom, what's your favourite game? That's what I'd ask Tom. Tom, you can tweet that back to us if you want. But
loads of good ones.
So many to choose from, and there's so many different reasons you could choose a game. There's so many.
I think my favourite Luton game will be the one where we have 10,000 back at Kenilworth Road again after the pandemic. Imagine we win that, the first one back, 10,000 fans.
It's going to be mental. It's going to be mental.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Do you know what? Go on.
Oh, I was just going to move on.
Go, move on.
Okay, sorry. Tim says,
you're in charge.
Pearson has performed well in the last 2 games at right back. Do we keep him there or drop him when Bree is fit? I think you got to drop him in, yeah. Get Bree in, because I like Bree.
I think you got to bring Bree in because he will get us up the pitch a bit more. He'll add that attacking option. He can take a set piece as well. I think Pearson is what he is. He's been good for us, but next season he's probably going to be the backup for Lockyer and Bradley. But yeah, I think Bree's our future at right back.
JS says, and I like this one because he spelled Pataro with a P. How many times does Pataro swear at a Luton game?
Right, with the B, Pataro swears constantly at Luton games.
He does swear a lot. He just swears a lot.
Yeah.
Any time in life, let alone at a Luton game.
If you're standing next to him at a Luton game, you'd know you're next to him.
I think you can hear Bataro. If you're not even standing next to him, you can hear him somewhere in that away end, or if you're sat in the Kenilworth Road end,
mate, he sits the
you'll
opposite,
be able to hear him.
He's at the opposite end of the stadium of me. Oh, sorry there, and I can hear him sometimes.
I'm only about 6 rows back from him with my season ticket, so I have every home game.
No, look, he's passionate. We all know he's passionate, and bless him, he just, it's Luton Town through and through. And if he wants to say the F word or the C word at any point, let him do it.
He's great, isn't he? He's great. And,
yeah, he's a good lad.
Hopefully back next week. He can come and join us again. Paul says, 88 points we've got in the season and a half we've had in the Championship. All things considered, that's a remarkable achievement, isn't it?
Yeah. There you go. Easy answer. I know we keep going on and we can't keep going back to this, but just look where we were 5-6 seasons ago. Look where we are now. Be happy that we're there.
Exactly. And 2 more questions. James says, and this is just a bit of a fun one. He said, right, there are 2 pills. The red pill is you have an 80% chance of staying up and 0 chance of making the playoffs. The blue pill is you have a 40% chance of making the playoffs, but only a 40% chance of staying up. Which pill do you choose?
Who are you asking first?
Go on, Dave.
80% chance of staying up.
And no chance of relegation. You got to take that pill, ain't you?
It doesn't say. It says 80% chance of staying up.
And 0% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, it doesn't mention that you got a 20% chance of being relegated or a 40% chance of being relegated. You take
80% is good.
You take the 20, but you take the 20% chance, don't you? 80% chance of staying up. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, sorry, I misread that.
He's reading it wrong.
I'm reading it wrong. Yeah, James, just take the red pill.
Got far too deep into that.
If you take the blue pill, no, you might get too excited about how the game's going to go.
I'll take the red pill for a couple of seasons and then
take the blue pill with some investment.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one.
Got anyone listening who
sits there and writes that sort of question? James, what are you on? He's on the red pill, isn't he?
Yeah, probably. And finally, this is a bit of a fun one, and because my girlfriend listens to the podcast, she thought it'd be funny to put this in. I don't think it's that funny, but she said, how many countries in the world start with the letter S? I thought I'd ask you guys in case you knew.
Well, that's a stupid question. And
why are you
asking that?
I'm very Luton related.
About 8.
8? Dave, do you know?
Why would I know that?
Producer Jacob, I think he's put 39 is the correct answer. I don't know if that's true or not. Do you reckon it's true?
I'll Google again,
I'll challenge him to name them.
I'll challenge you. Let's get producer Jacob on the phone to name the 39 countries that begin with S.
Yeah. You wouldn't have heard of about 30 of them.
Switzerland, Sweden, there's a couple, but that's pretty much all I can name. Anyway, that's good stuff. That's pretty much all we've got time for today.
What a stupid question.
Oh, terrible question, isn't it?
Oh, hang on a minute. How many did producer Jacob say?
39.
What's that say?
31. Oh. You can never trust producer Jacob to do anything correctly, can you?
And this one's...
Really can't.
And you know what? I don't think everybody knows South Africa, Spain, South Korea.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for your questions, everyone.
Sudan,
really
Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Somalia, Senegal.
What are we saying for the Cardiff game then?
Singapore.
Get a win? Doable?
Yeah, of course we can win.
2-0?
St. Lucia, Seychelles.
It's the same old. You know, we'd love a win. I'd take a draw.
I'll take a draw. Why not?
Scotland.
Yeah.
Taking a draw, Dave?
No, I want to win. I tell you, every week I want to win.
How did it take us that long to get Scotland?
Listen, this one says there's only 26, and you know, even they didn't have Scotland because they said you could also.
We can discuss
Scotland.
this another time. No one really cares about
you shouldn't have had your girlfriend
anymore.
bloody text in then, should you? I want 3 points, but I will take a point if we get a point. I'd rather have the 3. I think we deserve a 3. We think we deserve a good performance at home, and there's no reason why we can't beat Cardiff.
Good stuff. Well, that's all we've got time for. Thanks so much for listening. And if you're on YouTube right now, sorry about there being no video. Hopefully we'll get that back next week. If you can, rate us 5 stars on iTunes. That's always very much appreciated. Get us on socials, Owen the Town. Thanks for listening, and we shall see you next week.